It happened on a cold Thursday night in downtown Seattle, the kind of night where the wind cuts through your clothes and the streets empty just a little too early. Billionaire tech mogul Ethan Voss was leaving a charity gala through the back exit, trying to avoid the cameras. His driver was running late, so he decided to walk to the end of the alley. He shouldn't have. Two hooded strangers stepped out of the shadows. "While at watch now," one hissed. Ethan froze. He wasn't weak, but he was outnumbered, and they were close. One grabbed him by his collar, slamming him against the wall. "You got money, old man." The second one sneered. Ethan tried to keep his voice steady. "Take whatever you want, just don't." A punch cut him off. He hit the ground, blood tasting metallic in his mouth. The men towered over him. One pulled out a knife, should have kept quiet. He growled, and then a soft thump echoed. Not from the men, from behind them. A bright red rubber kickball rolled to their feet, wobbling to a stop. "What?" one of the attackers muttered. Turning up the alley's incline, stood a small figure, a little black girl, no older than 10, wearing a worn pink jacket and carrying a backpack almost too big for her. Under the street lamp, her braids shone like tiny ropes of gold black. She didn't look scared. "Hey," she shouted, voice steady. "Leave him alone." The men laughed. "Run along, kid." But she didn't run. She tightened her fingers around the ball. Her stance shifted. Left foot forward, knees bent. Not random. Perfect form. Seriously. One thug mocked. "You gonna hit us with a fit?" The ball flew so fast it blurred. Slicing the air with a WHIP sound, it struck the knife holder right in the temple, a textbook, professional-level dodgeball strike. He dropped instantly, the knife clattering beside him. The second attacker stumbled back in shock. "What the who? Throws like that?" he yelled, scrambling toward his friend. The girl reached into her backpack, not for another toy. For her phone? "I already called 911, she said calmly. "They can hear everything." Her voice didn't shake even once. The second man cursed and bolted. The first staggered to his feet and limped away. Within seconds, the alley was empty, except for Ethan and the girl. She ran to him. "Are you okay, sir?" Ethan winced as he sat up, wiping blood from his lip. "I think so." She offered her hand, tiny but firm. He took it. "You," he stuttered, staring at her. "That throw. Where did you learn that?" She shrugged. "Coach says I'm the best pitcher in the district. He says I got aim like destiny." He laughed despite himself, the sting in his ribs easing. "Destiny saved my life tonight." She smiled bright, warm, and completely unaware of what she had just done. "My name's Zuri," she said. "My mom works the late shift around the corner. I walked to pick her up after practice." Ethan blinked. "Alone, at this hour?" She looked down. "We don't really have a choice." A wave of guilt washed over him. He had spent millions funding sports programs, yet here was a star athlete walking dark alleys alone. Sirens grew louder. When the police arrived, Ethan insisted on giving his statement last. "She saved my life," he said, pointing at Zuri. "Her throw knocked out one of the attackers before he could stab me." The officers stared at her in disbelief. "She's a hero," one said, but Zuri shook her head. "I just hate bullies." Later, Ethan insisted on driving her and her mother home. When her mom, Angela, opened the door, panic flashed across her face. "I told you to wait inside the shop." Before Zuri could speak, Ethan stepped forward. "Ma'am, your daughter saved my life tonight." Angela blinked at him, confused. "Saved? Your life? I'd be dead without her," he said softly. "And I owe her more than I can repay." Angela's eyes filled. "We've been struggling, trying to keep her in sports programs, but they cut the funding at her school. She practices wherever she can." Ethan felt his chest tighten. "What does she want to be when she grows up?" he asked. Suri proudly replied. "A professional pitcher, maybe even play for Team USA." Her mom kissed her forehead. "She dreams big." Ethan smiled gently. "Dreams are meant to be big." The next morning, Ethan made a call. Not to a reporter, not to the police, to his board of directors. He ordered a $25 million national fund to restore youth sports programs in underserved neighborhoods, with the first program named the Zuri Initiative. That afternoon, he visited Zuri's school. The principal rushed to meet him, starstruck. "Mr. Voss, this is an honor." "I'm here for Zuri," he said. The principal glanced at the small girl sitting by her locker, polishing her ball. "She's remarkable," Ethan whispered. "We know," the principal replied, "but without funding." "Not anymore," he said. "She'll have everything she needs." At a school assembly the next week, Zuri stood on stage as Ethan made the announcement. "This young lady saved my life," Ethan said, voice echoing through the gym. "And tonight, she'll save countless dreams. Because of her courage, we're restoring athletic programs across the country." Gasps filled the gym. Zuri's eyes widened. "And as for our hero," Ethan added, turning to her, "you're receiving a full scholarship, all the way to college. And when you're ready for Team USA, we'll be cheering for you." Tears streamed down Angela's cheeks. Students erupted in applause. Zuri hugged Ethan tightly. "Thank you, but you don't owe me anything." "Oh, but I do," he whispered. "You reminded me that courage and talent can come from anywhere, even from a little girl who walks home in the dark but still throws light into the world." The audience stood for a long, roaring ovation. Years passed. Zuri grew into the pitcher everyone predicted she would be. Dominant, disciplined, unstoppable. At 18, she became the youngest athlete to join the USA women's softball training squad. When she stepped onto the field for her first televised game, she wore a small patch on her sleeve, a bright red kickball, a reminder of the night she changed, a life and her own. And when Ethan watched from the stands, he whispered the words he had carried ever since. Sometimes heroes come in small packages, but they leave the biggest marks. Morel greatness doesn't wait for age, wealth, or power. Sometimes, the smallest act of courage becomes the spark that transforms lives. Never underestimate the strength, brilliance, or potential inside someone, especially yourself.